The Steward's Mind, 30-Day Biblical Wealth Psychology Audio Journey, Week 6, The Legacy, Sessions 26 to 30. Anchor Scripture, Proverbs 13:22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Hebrew words to know. Good, tov. Good in the broadest sense, morally excellent, pleasant, well-functioning, producing what is designed to produce. Inheritance, nashal, to inherit, to occupy, to take possession, what is passed down and settled upon the next generation. Children's children, ben, son of son, the generational extension, the long view made specific. Solomon is not describing a one-generation transaction. He is describing a two-generation investment. The Tob person, the one who is functioning as they were designed, does not merely provide for their children. They build something that outlasts them by at least one generation. The nashal they leave is not accidental. It is the fruit of life lived with the long view operating as a primary frame. Week 6 is the final week. 5 sessions to close the 30-day journey. The theme is legacy, what the renewed steward builds that outlasts them, not only in financial assets, but in the beliefs transmitted, the culture established, the lev that is formed in the next generation by what they observe in this one. The question that drives Week 6 is simple and enormous. What are you building, and for whom? Session 26, What Legacy Actually Means. Welcome to Session 26. I'm Rich Abbott. This is The Steward's Mind, Week 6, the first session of 5 on the theme of the legacy. 25 sessions in, 1 week to go. We have covered the identity of the steward, who you are and whose you are. We have guarded the lev, the inner command center from which everything flows. We have renewed the news, the mind that has been transformed by truth rather than conformed to the pattern of the world. We have put the hand to work, earning with diligence, spending with intention, giving with cheerfulness, saving with foresight, investing with faithfulness. And we have changed the voice, replacing the death seeds of scarcity language with the life seeds of trajectory and truth. Now we look at what all of that is building toward, legacy. And the first thing I want to do in this session is dismantle the version of legacy that most people carry, because it is too small and too narrow, and it misses what Solomon was actually describing. Part 1. The word legacy has been domesticated. When most people hear the word legacy in a financial context, they think of one thing: inheritance money. What you leave in the will. The estate that passes to your children when you die. Legacy, in the popular financial imagination, is about assets transferred at death. That understanding is not wrong, it is just grammatically incomplete. The Hebrew word Solomon uses in Proverbs 13:22 is nashal, to inherit, to occupy, to take possession of. What is transferred in a nashal is not only financial, it is positional. It is the occupation of territory. It is the taking possession of a place, a standing, a capacity that was established by the one who went before. What you leave to your children's children is not only money, it is a position in the world, a set of beliefs about what is possible, a relationship with money that was either renewed or unrenewed, and that will operate in their lev just as yours operated in yours. You are not just leaving a bank account. You are leaving a financial culture, a set of operating assumptions, a thermostat setting for the next generation. And that is why the work we have been doing for 25 sessions matters so much more than the bank balance. The renewed lev, passed down with intention, is worth more generationally than an inheritance that goes to a lev that has not been renewed. Part 2. 3 dimensions of legacy. Let me give you a framework for thinking about legacy that is large enough to hold what Solomon was describing. Legacy has 3 dimensions. All 3 matter. All 3 are built simultaneously by the life of the faithful steward. The first dimension is financial, the assets, the savings, the investments, the property, the business equity, the tangible resources that can be transferred to the next generation and deployed by them. This is the dimension most people think of when they hear the word legacy. It matters, it is real, and the diligent, faithful stewardship of a lifetime produces it. The second dimension is cultural, the habits, practices, and values around money that the next generation absorbs from watching you. The financial culture of a household is transmitted without anyone necessarily intending to transmit it, through observation, through the conversations that happen around money, through what is modeled in 1,000 ordinary financial decisions over years and decades. Your children will have a thermostat, and a significant part of what sets it is what they watched in your home. The third dimension is spiritual. The beliefs about God's relationship to money and provision that are woven into the fabric of how your household operates. The theology, explicit or implicit, that your children absorb what God thinks about wealth, about stewardship, about building and giving and leaving something behind. If the financial dimension is what you leave, the cultural dimension is how you lived, and the spiritual dimension is what you believed, then legacy is the full integration of all 3, transmitted to a generation you may never meet. That is the nashel. That is what Solomon called the fruit of the Tob person. Part 3. The generational mathematics. Let me show you something that I find both sobering and extraordinarily motivating. Consider what happens when the renewed lev is transmitted with intention across generations. Generation 1, you, does the interior work, identifies the inherited beliefs, renews the mind, changes the language, builds the daily architecture, puts the hand to work. The financial outcomes improve, but more importantly, the operating system changes. Generation 2, your children, grows up in a household where the financial culture is already different. They absorb a different thermostat setting. They observe a parent who speaks trajectory rather than scarcity, who manages resources rather than reacting to them, who gives freely rather than holding tightly. They enter adulthood with a different lev, not perfectly renewed because they are human and will have their own work to do, but different from the one that was handed to you. Generation 3, your children's children, inherits not only the financial assets that have been building across 2 generations of faithful stewardship, but also a cultural and spiritual foundation that is 2 generations stronger than where you started. Solomon said children's children because 2 generations of faithful stewardship produces something that 1 generation cannot. The compounding of a renewed lev across generations is as real as the compounding of financial capital across time. It accelerates, it multiplies. You may be generation 1. You may be the one who breaks the cycle. and you may not live to see the full fruit of what you start. But the nashell is real, and it is being built in this session, in this 30-day journey, in every renewed decision and change declaration and guarded gate. Part 4. Legacy begins now. Here's what I want you to carry from this session above everything else. Legacy is not something you begin to think about at the end of your life. Legacy is being built right now in every financial decision, every word spoken about money, every belief you choose to renew, and every one you choose to replace. The parent who says in front of their children, "We can never afford that," is transmitting a thermostat setting. The parent who says, "That is not in our current plan, but we are building toward it," is transmitting a different one. Same financial situation, different transmission. The household that talks about money as a tool for generosity and provision is building a different spiritual legacy than the one that never talks about money at all because it is too uncomfortable. The person who does the work of the steward's mind, who changes the identity, guards the lev, renews the news, works the hand, changes the voice, that person is not only building their own financial future, they are laying the foundation of a generational legacy that the people who come after them will build upon. You do not have to be wealthy to begin this work. You have to be faithful. And faithfulness compounded across generations produces wealth in every dimension of the word. Part 5. Reflection. Today's reflection is a legacy inventory, not of what you have, of what you are transmitting. 3 questions to sit with honestly. First, what financial culture is currently being transmitted in your household through your words, your decisions, your relationship with money? What thermostat setting are the people around you absorbing? Second, what do you want to transmit? If you could design the financial culture of your household, the beliefs, the practices, the vocabulary, the relationship with money, what would it look like? Third, what is the gap between what is currently being transmitted and what you want to transmit? And what is one change, one deliberate, specific change that would begin to close that gap? Legacy begins now. This is the first session of the final week. Let it land. Closing declaration. Say this: I am not just managing money, I am building a legacy. The nashell I leave is not only financial, it is cultural and spiritual. I am laying a foundation for a generation I may never meet. Legacy begins now, in this decision, in this word, in this renewed belief. I am a faithful steward of what has been entrusted to me, and what I transmit matters as much as what I accumulate. This is Rich Abbott. This is the Steward's Mind. Session 27 is next.